Well, all right, all right. Hey, we're back in the year 2021. Brother Brian and Brother Marcus here on KIEZ 106.7 FM, the voice of the community. Well, Brother Marcus, first allow me to go ahead and say Happy New Year and pretty much how you living over there?
Oh, Happy New Year to you too, brother. I'm great, man. I mean, my year just came in the same way it always. Just continue to run the race. It is what it is on my side.
And that's what we have to do. Always running the race and using our full endurance, creating energy, releasing energy when the time is right. Because if the time isn't right, we still have to get right. Well, brother, some things are different in 2021. I think you just had a an anniversary, a birth
Yeah,
year anniversary in
yeah.
2021. So you're able to say something that most people we don't know if we'll be able to say it in 2021.
Oh yeah, definitely. I mean, I had my 50th birthday, so I'm looking at a lot of things totally different
50,
than I used. Oh
brother, you
yeah,
look like you're in your 30s.
oh yeah. Eat to live. You got to
I got you.
evaluate all things. So I eat to live. So that's why I'm still youthful. I'm still run 2 or 3 miles every
Whoa,
other
whoa,
day.
whoa, whoa. Slow down now, bro, because somebody gonna fact check this. You ain't running no 2 or 3 miles now.
Oh yeah, easily, easily. Getting on my bicycle and riding all over the city. I do that easy. That's with ease. Because I'm looking at life different. You talking about preserving life, staying youthful, uh, being around for your grandchildren, stuff like that nature. So, I'm 50 and I'm looking at life different. The COVID-19 situation, all that kind of stuff makes you makes you look at your life different when you turn a certain age. So, at this point, I'm looking at life totally different, saying, wow, we got a lot of things happening and this is it's a new year. So hey, it
You're
is what
exactly
it
right.
is.
Yeah, it is a new year, and we are in the year of 2021 right now. And you mentioned something that we all have been affected by physically, spiritually, mentally, COVID-19, which hit us. We became aware of it in the year of 2020, and 2020 was definitely an eye opener for the entire community, the region, and the nation. But today we are in the year of 2021. But 2020 was if I can use it for a lesser term, saying that it was something that we knew was coming. We didn't know what form that it was coming, but it presented itself. It came through, and now how do we rebound from it? And as you mentioned, that your age is right. It's not about how old you are. It's all about the energy that you use throughout your life. And so we start to evaluate our lives as certain parameters in our life, our livelihood. So when I reached 50, age of 50, yeah, I sat back, reevaluated. What have I done? What can I do? What did I miss? What are the opportunities that presented itself, but I wasn't ready? But I say today that, hey, no matter what presents itself today, I will be ready for anything that presents itself because I have a responsibility to leave a legacy for the futures to come. So, brother, tell us what we do each and every time we come to this round table and we sit down and we EAT.
EAT for us is an acronym which means evaluate all things. And what we do at the round table is evaluate all things. EAT.
Exactly right. We must always evaluate all things constantly. Well, brother, today we're going to finish off what we tackled in 2020, the contract for Black America, which was presented by the famous Ice Cube, the 80s phenomenal group NWA, one of the leading authors, one of the leading performers of the group who end up going in independent, and he is now in a situation where he's making movies, he's into full line of entertainment, maybe even clothing line. I'm not sure, but I'm pretty sure that he is. And so now he's presenting something for the community called the Contract for Black America. So each week in 2020, we tackle each phase of it. And today we're trying to close it out and try to make and allow it to make sense. Something called neo reconstruction. Now, some people may understand, some people may have heard of that before, the Reconstruction era. pretty much that happened during the time of this, well, after the end of the Civil War. And then we went into a phase called Reconstruction. Then we jumped into the phase of the Civil Rights era. But I'm hearing in the community that a lot of people are not aware of the Reconstruction era was. They are fully aware of the Civil War. Then it's like we jumped from the Civil War directly into the Civil Rights era. But there was a time where the shortcomings that took place in the war between the North and the South was called a Reconstruction period. And it presented itself and it went so quickly. So I want to be able to relate this neo reconstruction to the previous reconstruction because, as we always said, that we are truly at a state of civil war between two presidents.
Oh, yeah, definitely. Man, when I look at that, it was the year 1867 to between 1877, which was called the Reconstruction period. That was after the abolishment of slavery and all of that. But when you look at that, you know, it's it's not, you can't see the reconstruction in it, because here it is 2021, and we thinking about something that happened in 1867 and 1877. We really can't wrap our minds around it. So that's what the people having a problem at. But when you look at the word neo, that means new. And then when you look at reconstruction, that means construction. So we really talking about new construction.
Well, break
How
that.
do we
Well, help us out a little bit because I know you're in that field. So explain to us about this thing called construct and then reconstruct because you're in the field where you go to a plot of land where it may be overgrown, dilapidated. So explain to us the vision when you see something like that, then you are evaluating the entire community for different facets as far as traffic, as far as safety in the community so we can see and actually understand what construct is and then to reconstruct.
see when something is constructed already, and then you come in and rehab it, you're looking at it from what the good bones it has, what
From the
construction it
previous
already
builder's
has.
viewpoint.
Exactly. So you saying, okay, I could tear this wall down, reshape this window, put a new window here, put some new fixtures over here, and make it a new house. That's what reconstruction is. New construction, building a new house. When you build a new house, you got to figure out how many square footage you're gonna put there, how many electrical sockets gonna be in this particular house. All these different components go hand in hand. So when
Well,
you
let's
talk about
talk about
rebuilding
that.
a whole situation, putting a new system,
Okay, that right there, you talking about the different
huh?
components and all that from the electrical, and there's what, three or four different phases. But how is this communicated from the developer to the electrician or to the plumber? How do they relate that message to that person? Is it through text
It's
message,
on the no, it's on the construction plans. It's on the
a
plan.
blueprint?
So it's on the blueprint. So when
Okay.
you get the blueprint in your hand, the electrical gets it, the plumber gets it, the HVAC guy gets it, and he looks at it and see where his stuff can go. Uh, the electrical guy looks at it and see where his stuff can go. How he gonna put his components in there. The plumber guy do the same thing. And then there you have it. You got a new build. You constructing something that's gonna be everlasting, that may last for 100 years, 200 years. At this point, the stuff that was done in 1867 is 2021. It's outdated. We got to repair it. We got to renew it. We got to put a new foundation up under this thing. And what we talking about is put new systems together, in order to be able to make one elaborate house. You know what I'm saying? So we have to start by going backwards, looking at what was done in 1867 and bringing it up to date and into the modern day in time, which is 2021. And that takes somebody looking at, and I applaud Ice Cube for coming up with this document, and talking about the new reconstruction. That's what neo means. Neo means new. We got to do something new in this day and time. But I think that looking at this particular document, I think, you know, we asking the other man for too much when we can do some of this stuff ourselves. You know, that's why I had to come here and learn this process of building, so I can go back and do this in my own community. Instead of saying, okay, I want this guy to, I got $200,000, I want this guy to build me a house. Okay, if I got $200,000, this guy gonna build me a house, he takes the whole $200,000. But if I understand how to build a house myself, it says 2,000 square feet. 2,000 square feet at $60 a square, I could build this house myself for $120,000 and say 80. You understand? Because I've learned the process versus not knowing the process and just giving this man my whole $200,000, or this particular person my whole $200,000, and he does nothing that I want inside of that particular structure. You know, so it's a process, and we have to understand what the process is. Like Master P always say, trust the process. You know, but if you don't know the process, then you're not going to be able to trust it. You know, and when you're looking at this particular endeavor, we talking about a new system for somebody that's saying that they don't want to give up power. I'm not giving up that kind of power to you. You want me to help your HBCUs generate new funding and this and the third. I'm not going to do that. So we got to look at that for what it is and look at the system. And then we got to ask ourselves, how can we be a part of building a neo reconstruction, you know, a new build, as I would look at it. Yeah.
Okay, brother, you brought in a lot of different points that we want to tackle and break it down. We want to start from the beginning. Started with, once again, we are talking about the contract for Black America that was devised by Ice Cube's team, and it's pretty much a plan of success. And dealing with the plan of success, you mentioned something about a blueprint. Now, Jay-Z has a song called Blueprint. So
Yeah.
this is nothing new. The key, the element to it is for us to understand what a blueprint is and then get in and work the blueprint. So Ice Cube is coming at us from a different point of a blueprint dealing with education slash economics. And you just mentioned something about, Master P mentioned something about the process. That's right, the process over those who are not willing to render the power. And so this is where we get confused. Take like yourself, you're over there out of state, sacrificing time and acquiring all of this education in order to create a blueprint to bring back to your community. So now you've sat down with me and other individuals and painted the picture of the entire process. So now I've started, reached out, and I've started going at it not to compete with you or against you and just trying to learn how to build houses and do all of that. I asked myself, well, how can I complement that process? So now I've went to school to become a mortgage broker, and so now I've acquired my license. Now I'm going through the training of that of the process in order to understand if the brother is going to build them, how where does the financing aspect come in? So now I'm in line for that process to assist on the mortgage side. And I think this is where people in our community get confused. We always want to compete, compete, compete. Even it gets to the point of us sabotaging our fellow brothers or sisters plan because we're always trying to compete like it's a football game or a basketball game where we must just dominate them. But no, you can complement that process. Just like the NFL. The NFL needs uniforms, they need psychological attention, medical attention, they need people to transport. You can complement that process and it can still become a successful plan. And you ask, how do we do this? We do this by having a blueprint and understanding what the blueprint will present and understanding how to read the blueprint and understanding that there are many variables in this blueprint where we all can share in the wealth together. I don't have to sabotage your plan, and I make it where the person else has to sabotage my plan. We can complement one another and bring it all back to the same community and leave a legacy.
Yeah. It's great that you mentioned that, because that's what it's supposed to be all about. People coming together as a unit to be able to provide for the whole. It's 30 million of us. more in America. The so-called blacks in America, it's 30 million of us. So
Mm-hmm.
if you look at it, like we talked about the HBCU, historical black colleges and universities, right? So it's 107 of those institutions that was established during the Reconstruction period, right? They was established during the Reconstruction period for the youth, the black youth, to get an education, to be able to be trained, to be teachers, doctors, lawyers, whatever the case may be for that group of people at that particular time. Because the other man was saying, we're not going to educate y'all. We want y'all to educate yourself, and we're gonna develop this out of the Freedmen's Bureau or whatever the case may be. Now they're saying, okay, well, we tired of y'all. We don't want to help y'all anymore with this. We're gonna close some of these HBCUs. We're not gonna fund them. We can fund all this kind of stuff ourselves and still teach our people the same process in order to get them to understand how to build a house. We're not building, we're not the framers anymore and building a new construction. The Hispanic is the new laborer. He or she coming off and framing up 2,000, 3,000 square feet construction house. We don't want to work in that field. We saying, nah, man, I ain't doing no more manual labor. When in fact we should be in that field, showing the student that's going to algebra, learning how to use a protractor and a ruler and all this stuff. And at the end of the day, this is what you're going to be using this for: how to frame a house, how to understand what a square root means. All of this stuff goes in the component of building, of construction. So, but if you don't really understand it, you in the classroom, you say, oh man, it's boring. Nah, we're going to show you how to build a doghouse in the classroom. This doghouse is similar to building a real house. So therefore, you can go out and build your own house at this point. Build your own beds, dressers, all of these things that come from the components of using wood. I had wood shop in school and didn't even take it serious. But now I look at it now at 50 years old. I told you, now I look at my life different. Now looking at it at 50, I say, wow, I should have learned what Mr. Mills was teaching me in construction and wood shop at Neville High School when I was going to school. Instead I was ducking, going into the smoke area. What the dudes out there smoking? I didn't even smoke. I want to hang out with the mischievous children, in the area, And I was thinking about that. I said, man, how they had children having a smoke area in the 9th grade, 10th grade, 11th grade, 12th grade. They had a smoke area for students. Man, that's crazy. But when you look at it, you don't be thinking about the long-term aspect of this stuff when you thinking short term as a youth. You're not planning your future for 40 years later or 50 years later. You're saying, dang, now that you turn 50, you say, wow, I missed out on a lot of things. I evaluated that wrong. I ate the wrong food at that particular time. Now I'm sick, So you got to look at things totally different from day one. You got to start preparing yourself to think about the 100-year process, how to leave generational wealth. All of this stuff is component, and that's why I think Q talked about this particular economics and reconstruction, or redoing the system that's currently in place. So when we redo these systems that's currently in place, then you can say, okay, we're gonna teach the youth how to provide for themselves. Because right now, the youth of the day don't know how to provide for themselves. They think it's only 3 ways out: play football, basketball, become a rapper, or a singer. We still in that minstrel type stuff, singing and dancing, think that's gonna bring in the wealth or the income that we need. And that's only a few people with talent that happens to have a good understanding of how that business works, and then they provide something for themselves. But we need to go back to the basics, put the blueprint out to teach the children or teach the youth how to deal with economics and finance in the proper way to be able to provide an avenue for everybody in the community.
Yeah, I get you 100%. And you're right. Provide for everyone in the community, not just a few, but the whole. And that's what we have to do. Today's topic is going to be about the blueprint. That's what we're talking about. We take the blueprint from several of our entertainers. We mentioned that Jay-Z has mentioned about the blueprint. So he's dropping a gem He did that many years ago. Ice Cube right now in his document of the contract for Black America, he's talking about a blueprint. And today, here on KIEZ, we're talking about the blueprint. Now we're talking about the blueprint from a macro level, but we want to break it down to a micro level where the blueprint starts in the home itself. We must have our own individual blueprint to get from step A to the end step. And the individual must designate what that end step is. And now we have the blueprint. You send your blueprint. Well, before you even draw the blueprint, you make just certain plans by sketching out a plan. And then you bring in the experts to evaluate, to look over your blueprint, to make sure you didn't miss any proper measurements or make sure you didn't miss anything that is very impactful to your blueprint being a success. But what we do, Brother Marcus, we sketch out a plan, we hold on to that plan. And you know this for a fact, just like most people know that those plans end up dying with that individual going to the graveyard, and the graveyard is full of the best ideas and plans in the grave that was never shared with the next generation. So they die with those individuals instead of becoming, instead of manifesting, being fruitful on that thought. That's the one thing that God has given us, that thought. And through that thought, we can manifest it by sitting at the round table, talking to those in the community, pulling in the experts, pulling in those that we find truth in that could bring so much to the table. But it's all about understanding the blueprint and presenting these ideas so they can be actually vetted out properly so they can become successful.
Yeah. See, the thing to a blueprint is the first process, laying the foundation. You know, you talking about building a house or new construction, you got to lay a foundation first, whether it be a cement, the concrete. You start with concrete first. You know, that individual comes in, does his work for his laying the foundation for the house. Then the framer comes in. You know, he frames up the entire structure that you done uh, put on your blueprinted plan, you know. But if there's no framing process or there's no foundation laid, then you can't build that new construction. And that's a lot of our case. The things that's happening in our community, we don't have a foundation. What should be our foundation in order to start building the building process? We don't know what kind of house we're trying to build. Remember what Chris Rock said, you know, he thought all during when Cobra first kicked off, he thought all his friends had a was had a brick house. In actuality, some of them had straw houses and all of that. So it just, you know, things just go wrong. So it is what it is.
Yeah, you're exactly right, Chris. If the family ever gets a chance, they definitely need to listen to Chris Rock, his scenario, his theory about the three little pigs and the big bad wolf, which he was converting over into the pandemic of 2020, indicating that what type of house do you live in? Do you live in a house made of straws, a house made of
Yeah.
then reinforced with mud, or do you live in a brick house where the big bad wolf just can't blow it down? So, and that's part of that blueprint, understanding our current condition, understanding our shortcomings, and evaluating where we're trying to get to, and understand that time, patience, and also education and economics will get us to the end phase of our blueprint. And it is a challenge, but one day, day by day, it will happen. You must see it. Once
See,
you see it, you will believe it and achieve it.
see, you said it, our education level. I was talking to a friend of mine the other day. Uh, you know, we would think that a lot of us are educated how to read, write, you know, whatever. But in actuality, that's not true. You know, it's still a lot of us are lacking in education from just from an elementary standpoint. You know, you got some guys that can't read, some women that can't read or write. You understand? And here you are at 50 and you can't do this. You saying I'm not gonna start my life all over again. I ain't doing no neo reconstruction. That's what how this world looks at it. Man, everybody should have this, that, and that. No, that's not true. You got to understand that, you know, that these people against us educating ourselves, and some of us fell victim to not educating ourselves. So
It was illegal at that time.
exactly. So the same thing still applies. I mentioned that we got 107 HBCUs. You know, uh, but uh, but in that factor, they not teaching the same way they was teaching uh, before 1964. Before 1964 is when the civil rights movement started to take place. But we talking about the Reconstruction period, 1867 to 1877. This is when the colleges, the historical Black colleges, came into play. 1861 was the first year that a historical Black college was put in, that 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 started in Pennsylvania. It was to teach the youth how to be successful in creating something for themselves. See, that same paradigm isn't happening in 2021. We teaching the youth how to go to college, how to create, how to get a job outside of coming out of college, not how to provide for yourself outside of coming out of college. You see what I'm saying? So the teaching process is totally different. At one point in time in during Reconstruction, they was teaching the youth how to create agriculture, how to make their own bricks at Tuskegee Institute. Now we ain't making our own brick. We letting somebody else make our brick. You understand? So the process is totally different. The foundation isn't the same. We on a mud plat foundation. Or either a straw-based foundation. It's not a brick foundation. It's not solid. You see what I'm saying? So the houses are being built flimsy. But the reconstruction needs to take place with how we construct our attitude to teaching again. We have to start back teaching. Use these 107 institutions to teach our youth about the economic finances and how to use those finances to be able to create other endeavors for ourselves. We talked about 30 million Blacks in America. If we just gave $1, just $1, 30 million, that's 30 million a month times 12 months, that's 36 billion dollars in 1 year. You see what I'm saying? Now you got some money to be able to create a new foundation for yourself, to be able to provide for other people and not ask anybody for a quarter, because we understand who we are to each other. We're a group of people, a community that's providing for ourselves in the midst of chaos and acrimony. Because this world is in chaos right now. It's in we fighting amongst each other. The senators that represent us, they sitting in Congress right now trying to impeach a president that ain't even in office. So our mindset is being distracted from how to create for ourselves and how to provide for ourselves, because we worried about somebody else providing for us. We waiting on that $1,400 stimulus check or that $600 stimulus check. Oh man, he don't give us $2,000. Man, they don't even pay the rent. You understand? What you gonna do after that? So it is what it is.
Exactly right. It is what it is. And pretty much our blueprint will make a determination of what we do for ourselves, our family, and for our community. And so we have to understand the process, and the process can definitely come out of, I'm just reading some notes here, dealing with complementing one another. Well, Brother Marcus, our time is getting real short here. I'm gonna give you the last few words in reference to the blueprint, or pretty much what we initially started out with, dealing with one of our, I call him a leader in the community, Ice Cube, dealing with the contract for Black America, talking about the neo reconstruction, the
Yeah,
new
yeah,
reconstruction.
I respect Ice Cube on the neo reconstruction. Like I say, neo means to become new. And we talking about reconstruction, we need to be talking about new construction, building new homes, new foundation, new systems, in order to provide for ourselves. And the only way we do this is we sit down and talk to each other about these new constructions and these new systems. Once we do that, we can be able to provide a great foundation for building new houses, new homes, new buildings, new everything, new systems to be able to provide financial institutions for ours. We build our own banks, not worry about Wells Fargo not worry about Chase Manhattan or Chase, you know, the Chase banks of America. You know, we can do all this stuff ourselves with understanding what's the kind of foundation we trying to lay. And I thank Ice Cube for laying this foundation and talking about the issues. But we, at this point, we can't beg master for the crumbs off his table. We need to provide bread for ourselves. And the way we do that is talk amongst ourselves, evaluate all things E.A.T every day, all day.
All right. Hey, we will reach back out to the family again next week here on KIEZ 106.7 FM, the voice of the community. Well, Brother Marcus, you make sure you stay safe out there because we living in some trying times out here.
Oh, yeah, I'm riding my bike and staying focused, man, and running every day. Hey, it is what it is. I'm gonna win this race, man. I'm gonna live to be 100 and something. So it is what it is. Hey, I'm out, man. E.A.T. Evaluate all things. KIEZ 106.7.